Kia ora team, good morning, welcome back to the Black Jersey. I'm Max and I'm the channel host, and a big well done to France's national rugby team for winning their first Grand Slam since 2010. A lot of their current players were still in school when that happened, so wow, what an achievement for, as the commentators say, France's golden generation. It was a thrilling game where they really took their opportunities in comparison to England, who didn't really do so. We're going to break everything down, I'll explain how things happened, and I'll share a few opinions along the way. Then at the end I'll have a few things to say about what the teams can take away from this. It all started in the first minute, of course. France took Ben Youngs' box kick really well after the kickoff, and they slowly began to get a feel for the game. However, 7 minutes into the game it really changed. They generated some real quick ball by Penaud dropping into midfield after a line out. This was dropped by Fiku, and England had a scrum in their own half. France do get to take the 3 after England's scrum collapses though, and so Jaminet kicks a penalty from 38 metres to open the scoreline to 3-0. Marcus Smith did quite a lot of kicking, a bit too much for my liking. In the 11th minute he delivers a cross kick to Freddie Stewart at 14. Stewart picked this off brilliantly but conceded the turnover to Gabon Villiers. 2 minutes later they gain about 30 metres after the end of a kicking war. France turn over yet again though, and Jonathan Danty broke the line. He does knock on under advantage, however. France were turnover winning machines throughout this whole game. It's incredible the work that Sean Edwards has done as their defence coach. France launch a really patient attack off their line out 2 minutes later and keep calm under pressure. They eventually find Fiku out wide. Intermac's brilliant flat pass allows him to brush off Furbank in the tackle and score their first try. Jaminet does miss the conversion, so France are winning 8-0. Heavy carrying from the England forwards does pay off in the 19th minute though. France are penalised at the breakdown, and Smith immediately lines up a penalty goal from 42 metres, and he does indeed get this, so England are losing 3-8. Yeah, bit of controversy now. 20th minute, Jack Nowell gets underneath the ball and he cannot see Melvin Jaminet, who is mid-air. Pretty naughty from Damien Penaud though, he pushes Nowell into Jaminet, and so it's actually France getting penalised, and fair enough, Penaud's putting his own teammate at risk of injury. Great call by Jaco Paper, the South African referee. I never thought I would say he made a good call, but he had a very good game as the ref today. Youngs makes a really stupid box kick in the 22nd minute though, wasting English possession, and it's charged down. Furbank then picks the ball up when he is in touch. I think George Furbank has probably played his way out of consideration for the 2023 World Cup now. England do recover the ball in their own half, but they don't release it at the breakdown. Jaminet takes the 3, and France are now winning 11-3 thanks to Jaminet's kick. France though repeatedly collapse their scrum inside their own half. Smith once again takes the 3, so the scoreline is 11-6, still for France of course. Marcus Smith does show a bit of bravery later on as well in the 33rd minute. He took on the French defence line inside his own half. He delays the pass really well to Furbank, who breaks the line. Bit of a mixed game for Furbank, like I said. Youngs, however, is missing in action again, and Stewart has to run in at 9 and knocks on the ball at the breakdown. England collapse the scrum this time, and Jaminet opts to take a penalty from 58 metres. He does miss by quite a wide percentage. England clear the ball into France's half. Once again, we find England with no support runners in the 38th minute. Slade runs a great line, but has no support runners. Do England have an attack coach, or is this yet again a common theme of them not having one? This team here, please get an attack coach for the World Cup. Fiku wins the turnover, France kick for touch. They initially waste an overlap in the 40th minute, but they recover their running, and Intermac finds another gap out wide. Francois Crowe picks and goes, and goodness me, he's got a reach. He scores their second try out wide, and Jaminet kicks a brilliant goal to get France ahead by 18-6 at halftime. We find the second half starting with Jamie George on the wing as well, very entertaining. As you can see, France were really using their opportunities on attack far more than England through the halftime stats. Anyway, yes, Jamie George on the wing to start off the second half out wide. He drops a cross kick from Marcus Smith while under advantage. England's do take a line out, but the ball's knocked on in the breakdown. 48th minute, they do pass flat and wide off a three-man line out. Brilliant line break by Joe Marchant, who is so underrated, man. Soft hands down the line lead Freddie Stewart to finally score England's first try of the match, and he beats 3 defenders while doing so. Excellent kick by Marcus Smith from 42 metres to nail it. England are only losing by 13 to 18 now. They then apply huge pressure on France throughout the start of the second half rather. They have had 80% possession by the 54th minute. France get a real sigh of relief when Fiku wins his 3rd turnover of the match. France then spend 6 minutes of game time resetting scrums inside England's half to wind the clock down before finally going wide. Really good for the prop enthusiasts out there like myself. They recycle the ball really well, and Jamie George's missed tackle on Anton Dupont allows them to finally score. Jaminet's conversion leads to a 25-13 scoreline. That's pretty much the scoreline out of reach for England. Jaminet does attempt a drop goal in the 65th minute as well, but Dombrand charges it down, pushing France back inside their own half. France's winding down the clock strategy does backfire a few stages as well, for example, when they're penalised in the 70th minute for collapsing the maul. England kick for another line out, and after Jean-Baptiste Gros changes contact lenses, England go off another maul and Dombrand breaks away, but he gets held up by Danty, and England's 5 straight minutes of possession is wasted. Marcus Smith's pass to Elliot Daly leads Daly to drop the ball into touch, and that's pretty much the end of the game. France just wind down through the scrum, and here we have the final score. Well done to France on winning their first Grand Slam in 12 years. As a neutral observer from New Zealand with British ancestry, I found this very entertaining to watch. France will keep getting better as well. There were a lot of elements of this game they were yet to perfect. It wasn't exactly the most complete performance I've ever seen from them under Fabien Galtier as the head coach, so I think there is improving left to do, and if they can do that, they will win the Rugby World Cup next year, as I've been predicting them to do so for a long time. Very interestingly as well, in this video over here, this is how I predicted the table, and the table for the Six Nations finished exactly as I predicted, except Italy of course got a win over Wales. Now before I end this video, I want to talk to the British press. Dear mainstream media and the British press, you are being so unbelievably unkind to Eddie Jones. You're calling for him to get sacked, to resign, whatever, and just going on totally just ridiculous character assassinations, showing a complete lack of gratitude for what he's done for England. Remember in 2015 when you got knocked out of your own World Cup? Yeah, I do. I was 15 years old at the time, but I still remember it quite vividly. Eddie Jones really turned that side around, and they're still continuing to get better and better. This was just a case of the Six Nations where they were outplayed by better teams. That's all there is to it. There's nothing wrong with the coach. It's just the other teams are playing better, and all England has to do is get on the level of the other teams. Stop trying to denigrate other people, ruin their mental health for the sake of clicks and reads through your newspapers and online. The mainstream media in England is the most destructive force in history, and behaviour like this is why there's so many suicides, mental health crises and stuff in the modern day. So English media, hold back your scathing reviews on Eddie Jones in England, and let's all come together and let's celebrate the brilliant game that France had. They were just incredible throughout this whole Six Nations, and they truly deserved to win the competition. A big round of applause, everybody, for France, who, as I have said, deserved to win. Guys, if you're ever keen to support me elsewhere, I've got an Instagram page where it all started, and I do a bit of journalism on the side of my own website. If you're keen to support the Black Jersey financially, I do have a PayPal tip jar, a Patreon, and a subscribe star for you all to have a look at. A big thank you to my patrons, and a big thank you for you all to come and watch this video. Once again, awesome win of the Six Nations by France. Well-deserved Grand Slam. Cheers for watching, team.